Honestly, just excuse the fine lines, because no matter how many concealer I put on, it just doesn't seem to cover it. So if anyone wants to suggest me a really good concealer, feel free to. Anyways, I'm at the park. It was honestly so hard to get a place to sit here in private, but then I just thought, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna sit down and don't care about what people think of me sitting here alone. So, hey guys. Anyways, before I start, I just want to say I have a stuttering problem, so what that means is I'll repeat some words or extend it or prolong it by accident. So I'm gonna try to talk slowly as I can, like, even though I'm so subconscious to just look at the camera and talk. I'm taking speech therapy, so let's just hope that I don't stutter, but if I do, then you guys already know because I mentioned it. Anyways, with that rant over, let's start. Anyways, I'm Sammy, you can come to me here, I don't mind. And I'm doing a book review on, well, yeah, you just saw the title, book review, what do you expect? On this book called A Woman Is No Man by Etaf. Hope I pronounced her name right. This book was suggested to me online when I was looking for something to entail with my home life. You know, living the westernized life of when you come to a country you're born in and you raised in, and your parents were born and raised in a different country. You can see and emphasize how the cultural clashes entwine. Gosh, the sunlight has to blind me, sorry guys. This book is about a Palestinian woman named Iswa. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And she was born and raised in Palestine, and with Iswa's childhood upbringing, that first problem that roots up is how she was born, that she's born a female. And this is often the case in not just Palestinian culture, but in other cultures like Chinese culture, Bangladeshi culture, Indian culture, Pakistani culture, and it can impact anybody. And of course, it isn't to say that all Palestinian parents are abusive or controlling, but it's just spread awareness that this thing happens around the world globally, unfortunately. And Iswa in the book is 17, almost nearing to 18, and there's so much pressure that as soon as you hit 17 or 18 in the culture the book is portraying, the female has to get married to a man as soon as possible to preserve the shame and the culture of how come your daughter's still not married yet, which is really messed up because marriage isn't something that everyone wants, and it's a human right in the Western world that you don't have to get married, you don't have to feel forced to marry a man, you can marry someone outside of your culture or your race. But this is about shame and bringing disgust to the family, but whereas the men are left to not get married until their late 20s or late 30s. And Isra gets an arranged marriage with this man from America who left Palestine a long time ago to a better life, and they came all the way from New York to the proposal, and Isra thinks that this is her opportunity to finally be in love ultimately, because being in love and is what Isra reads in her storybooks. And I kind of related to her because I enjoy reading, because reading encapsulates a passport to imagination of all these places she's never been to and could never got the opportunity to, because her home life is about doing household chores and not thinking about getting an education or leaving without a man. She has to get married because that's what her parents say so, and Isra's a bit unsure that that's probably not what she wants, because she wants to be in a natural relationship where you can get married and talk to the guy first to get to know him, instead of meeting one or two times and just finally setting a proposal. And I can see the elements of a forced marriage in here, because people think, not all people think this, but majority of people think that a forced marriage is when your parents say, okay, you better get married or else. But a forced marriage is also ways of something like saying stuff like, if you don't get married, you'll bring shame to the family, or you should give him a chance. Like, if you get to know him in the first or 2 meetings, you'll fall in love, or you can fall in love after the marriage and see where it turns to. But that's not how love works. It could work for some people, and I wouldn't want to do like arranged marriage personally, because I would just want to get to find my own person by myself and see where it goes. Because arranged marriage to me feels like the female's put in a catalogue. You know, the catalogue books where you open like something like Toys R Us or Argos and you just pick an object. It's not like picking a pair of shoes and then you can change it back, but it's like a huge responsibility when you get married to someone. Oh my gosh, the sun's away, sorry guys. So ultimately I can feel her pain, but reluctantly she goes ahead with the marriage. She moves to New York and thinks that New York is an amazing country with human rights, that she can be who she wants to be. She's unsure on keeping to her Islamic faith, or like wearing a hijab, or what does it mean to her identity now. And this is the part where I got a bit teary, because it was mother-in-law just is a really crazy Asian typical grandma who wants a grandson, because in lots of cultures they see a son being someone who's going to pass on the family surname, and who's going to work and provide for the family financially, when a woman can be just as capable of doing that. And this is what pisses me off, because a woman can be capable, obviously, because as the world progresses, so do human rights and more awareness of women being involved. And what I really appreciated in the book was also she didn't just say that it's only females who suffer the most, but she also linked it back to males also experiencing lots of pressure of becoming the breadwinner and the income of the family. And that was something lots of people tend to forget, that how's a man feeling providing and having more pressure onto it. So you kind of emphasize how it spirals in toxicity and abuse.
And I also forgot to mention that Iswa is very naive. She's never been in a relationship before, so she keeps on feeling confused on how is she going to win over her husband's love, because she wants her husband to support her when his parents are being quite abusive to her to make a grandson, and she needs someone in her life to support her. So obviously that husband figure is so important, because you essentially want to be with a partner who puts you as equal stance to their parents, or a bit higher, because then things like this could happen potentially, or even worse.
It's not to excuse the abuse, because if you're being abused, and there's always a choice in that, but it kind of just shows how where's it coming from. And it was mother-in-law also has a backstory of why she feels like a grandson is something that the family needs. And that's why I really enjoy about authors who can link it back to like many different perspectives. It's kind of like I can imagine this being turned into a movie, because this is such a really good written book. And then there's a time skip in the story, like it goes back and forth. So Iswa, and then Iswa's daughter, and the daughter grows up to be 18, and of course her grandma's like, okay, you're 18 now, you're old enough to get married, I want you to get married to a man, forget about going to college, because the daughter kept on telling her like a broken record, I want to go to college, I don't want to get married straight away. What if marriage isn't something I want personally? Why can't I get married until I'm older? and the grandma's like not listening to her what she wants, because she keeps on saying like this is how it happens in the family, even though there's a lot of hypocrisy of the men in the family not getting married so early as them, and the daughter just feels like there's no way to change the grandma, and that's not until someone comes into her life, which I can't spoil because that's the plot, but without much spoilers, this person tells Israel's daughter that, look, you have to tell the grandma that you don't want to get married, you have to reject the suitors she tries to get you to get married to. And it also shows the mental health spectrum, how they see the mental health as something like you're being possessed by an evil spirit who's putting this into you, instead of emphasizing that maybe this culture is just too much. And the daughter eventually gets courage, and that just shows how if you keep being scared of someone, you're the one only giving them power, because the more power you get to like someone who wants to abuse you, it shows that the abuser thinks that they can like easily manipulate you and control you, and you have to find your own voice to fight back it. And it shows like there's a really dark family secret on what happened in the past that shocks the daughter, that she has to make a choice that she can either be scared and forever get married out of pressure, because obviously she'd have concerns like, is the man marrying me because he actually sees me as a very amazing person, or is he marrying me because he's scared of his parents that they're forcing him to get married to her. It also shows like the man and female role, that like if the woman has the children, why can't the husband also take turns in looking after the child, and not just the woman not being pursued to go to college or get an education, go to university, get a job. And that's what the daughter finds so unfair and sexist, because there's lots of like I'm sure there's lots of men in the world who would stay at home and look after the child, so it shouldn't just be the female, because that's how things are, when things always have to be broken at some point of the cycle. Because it was just something that really related to me, how the daughter just sneaks around and is scared of, it's like walking on cracked eggshells, that you don't want to get caught because of your parents are going to find out, but the grandparents are going to just start some drama, and just an overall shame of it, when this is the 21st century and there's nothing wrong with a female if she just doesn't want to get married, or if she wants to leave it till a certain age. Because I think the moral of the story is that you can get married at 18, 23 or 38, but you can still be in a very unhappy relationship. Like, it's much, I sound like I'm going to be a guru here. Guru Sammy has entered here at the park to say that it's probably a wiser option if you just stay single until you find the one naturally happening to you. And that's what the daughter wants. She wants a natural relationship where it's not like, okay, the boy's here, the girl's here, now after meeting him for like a few hours, do you want to get married, when it's just a huge life commitment and so much pressure and force. And this is something I would recommend, like if maybe you're just interested in someone else's culture, of how perhaps you want to educate yourself on this sort of thing, or maybe you're like me, that it relates to you, but also isn't neglecting other characters or of seeing it from their perspective, so you as a reader can empathise, how come she's feeling this way, what happened, and it kind of gradually stems up to ultimately revealing the grand family secret of what exactly happened that the daughter's not aware of, not being told. And honestly, I'll give this book a 5 out of 5. I'll show it, it's right here. Give this book a try, guys, if you want to, and I will do more book reviews if I find something more to read and if I get the time. Bye!